It's May 4th, 2007, post 184. Today, Spider-Man Day. So, if you haven't seen Spider-Man and you're watching this, you might just want to turn this off because I'm going to talk frankly and openly about stuff that happens in this movie, and I'm pretty much going to spoil it for people if they continue listening. So, here's your chance. Turn it off. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow. For those of you who have seen it, or who have come back to this post, these are my thoughts on the third Spider-Man movie. I have mixed feelings about it. Huge Spider-Man fan. Love the comic books. Have a huge run of the comic books. I've had some problems with Raimi's version of Spider-Man. I don't know if I would have done it the same way, but, you know, I'm not Sam Raimi. So, like, Kristen Dunst's Mary Jane, I'm sorry. You know, I don't know what he was smoking when he, like, cast her in that, but, like, she's supposed to be this drop-dead gorgeous supermodel, and Kristen Dunst is not that. Anyway. So, my big problem with, well, let me talk about the things that I liked about Spider-Man. I like the fact that it feels like Sam Raimi has sort of gotten back in touch with a little bit of his cornball roots, you know? There's a certain feel, like sort of Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2 sort of feel, you know, that the movie's not taking itself really seriously, which is good, but not so cheesy that you're just like, oh, well, there are points where you're just like, oh my god, but, you know, it's fine. It has a very sort of like 1950s sort of superhero, just sort of like giant robot monsters sort of thing. And in that respect, I really enjoyed it. The person who plays Harry, oh my fucking god. I don't know if, like, the guy got into a car accident and now has some sort of mental deficiency that he's just totally forgotten how to act or, you know, deliver dialogue, or if it was just poor writing. But oh my fucking god. Like, the interactions between him and Peter and Mary Jane, like, they're so forced. Like, he ends up getting amnesia, which is a little tacky, but, you know, I can forgive it. And, like, just, he just says stuff with, like, the stupidest look on his face, the stupidest inflection in his voice. I just, like, wanted to reach onto the screen and just strangle the life out of him. So, that was a little bit of a problem. Then, when Peter Parker puts on the symbiote suit, well, he gets all emo, and it is the stupidest fucking thing, because he takes his hair and he does the emo thing over his eye. And, like, I couldn't help but just laugh out loud because it's ridiculous. Like, it's just stupid. Stupid. Like, I was just waiting for him to start listening to fucking Dashboard Confessionals and start painting his nails black and, like, draw a little penciled-in tear right there. It would have just made that so much more complete. So, there was that. What else? The whole Sandman storyline, I felt kind of disappointed in, just because, like, in the same, like, for those of you who've seen X-Men 3, there's sort of this, like, red herring in X-Men 3. It's just sort of about the kid with the powers to, like, destroy mutant powers. I totally thought that kid was going to have, like, a lot more to do with the story, but it's just sort of this red herring. I really got the feeling like that's what Sandman was in this. Like, he was just filler. And I think Spider-Man might be falling into the same trap that the Batman series did, where they're just throwing more and more villains into the mix to try to sort of amp up the excitement, when really they should be focusing on storyline and, you know, having quality villains. Which sort of brings me to Topher Grace. Topher Grace is the stupidest pick that they could have chosen for Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock is a big dude. Venom is a big fucking guy, you know? And granted, I guess Topher Grace is bigger than Tobey Maguire, but Kristen Dunst is bigger than Tobey Maguire. So that doesn't really doesn't really do anything. I don't know. And then just like, it's so stupid. The third act is just brutal. So Sandman and Venom team up to kill Spider-Man. And then there's this ridiculous point where Peter Parker goes to Harry and is just like, you have to, because Mary Jane gets obviously caught up in all this tomfoolery. It's like, we have to save her, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like this really forced and labored sort of moment on screen. And then, like, Peter Parker leaves to go obviously save Mary Jane, and Harry stays behind, you know, being all brooding, you killed my dad sort of thing. And then, you know, at that last sort of minute, just as Spider-Man's getting his ass kicked by Venom and Sandman, of course, Harry comes, which is, you know, kind of obvious and just sort of cliche, but just, oh my god, like, at that point, the movie just sort of spirals into this shithole where it just starts sucking and sucking and sucking and becomes tackier and tackier and tackier up until the point where Harry dies. And there's supposed to be this, like, moment where, you know, Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst are crying and they're holding him, and the entire theater burst out in laughter. That is the most ineffective piece of cinema I've seen in a long time. Like, it was retarded. Like, what hack writer wrote that? Like, and then the whole third act sucked. But I can disregard that because the first two acts, except for the scenes with Harry in it, are actually pretty good. The movie, all in all, was a pretty good superhero movie. They'll probably make a fourth one. I don't think this movie is ultimately going to do as well in theaters as they were hoping. Like, the theater that we went and saw, granted, isn't the big theater in Victoria, but it's still, you know, a relatively large-sized theater, and there was maybe not even half capacity. Yeah. But who knows what it'll do in bigger places, but yeah, I don't think this movie is going to be the blockbuster that Sony's expecting. And I don't think that anybody's going to be doing another 3 movies of this. I don't think Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and Sam Raimi will sign on for one more movie. But no more after that. And if they do, it will kill the franchise. Those are my thoughts on it. For those of you who have now watched it, send me a message. Tell me exactly what you think of my little review, because yeah, I'd like to know what you thought of the movie. See you later.